Alright, brief intro time here. I fumbled the bag pretty hard and got sick and hadn't finished this video on time anyway, so this was filmed at the end of December. So yeah, this video was kind of old. Apologies for it coming out now. I just still wanted to put it out. Also, one of the spots corrupted in filming, and I'm missing one of the top games, but that game would have been Path of Exile 2, which I absolutely adore and is an absolute blast. Highly recommend it. It would have been on my number 8 spot. And yeah, so keep that in mind when watching the video. I'll try to number everything according to that. And yeah, big thumbs up. Thank you everybody for watching, and thank you for listening to the intro. Let's jump right on into it. Yeah.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Coffee Studios, and welcome to the final video of List Week. Can you believe it? We're here already. Today, we will be going through the 10 best video games of 2024. I hope you guys really enjoy this video. I've been super excited to share all of these with you, and I'm happy to bring List Week to a close with this amazing video. So let's jump right on into my favorite games of the year. Coming in at number 10, we have Tekken 8. This may be a surprise to a lot of people, but I played a lot of Tekken 8 this year, and I really liked it. It's the first time I really got into a fighting game and attempted to climb the ranked ranks, and I'm still pretty terrible, to be honest. But it's the first time I really got into the fighting game community, and it was really a big part of my year was starting to follow the FGC more, even though I'm kind of terrible. And Tekken 8 was a huge part of that. I loved Tekken 8. I think it's fantastic. It's super fun, it's sexy, it's sleek, and I'd say, you know, it's amazing training functions make it easy for a newcomer like me to fall in love with fighting games. And I think that's the beauty of Tekken 8, is the fact that it's easy to pick up and learn despite being such a mechanically deep and frankly frustrating video game. And so I highly recommend it if you've never jumped into the fighting game world. Definitely check it out and definitely have a good time playing. Coming in at number 9, we have Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. This game rules. It's fantastic. The only thing keeping it from being higher on this list is that I find that the multiplayer and co-op aren't as fun as the amazing, well-crafted single-player story that it has. And trust me, when I say that, I worry that people will think I'm overdoing it, because I still love the multiplayer and co-op, but that single-player story, it makes them seem not as good as they are, even though they're better than your average multiplayer and co-op experiences, because it's astounding. It is one of the best, most thrilling, exciting single-player experiences I've ever played. It's brutal, it's gory, it's graphic, it's intense, and it is balls-to-the-wall action the entire time. There are set pieces that are just absolutely astounding, and the final hours of this game had me just jaw agape. It makes me want to dive more into 40k, it makes me want to learn more about what 40k is, especially after the secret level episode that they had tying in with the game. Utterly blown away, utterly in love, and highly recommending. If you have any enjoyment of action games and science fiction, you should definitely play this game. It's fantastic.
Must take back control of freedom.
Together for managed democracy.
Together for victory.
Together for liberty.
Together for liberty.
Together, they fight for freedom.
Coming in at number 7 on my list, we have Helldivers 2. I played a lot of Helldivers this year. And while there were a lot of controversies and, complaints that people had, I'm not sure I had any more fun with a multiplayer game. There were other multiplayer games that I absolutely loved this year, like Marvel Rivals, for example, and like Path of Exile 2. But the dumb fun stupidity that I had playing Helldivers was just fantastic. And I wish that the game, had kept that energy going. And I hope that with the new updates, I'll be able to play more with my friends, because I absolutely adored Helldivers. I found it just so fun. There's something about Helldivers 2 that just exudes good energy. You find yourself goofing around with friends while also being able to do these incredibly fun missions and going to these different worlds and, seeing the live counts. It's thrilling and exciting, but also isn't afraid to just let you have fun. And I feel like so many games these days worry about their competitive nature and that they end up restricting themselves. And spoilers, Path of Exile 2 and Marvel Rivals aren't on my top 10 list because I just started playing Marvel Rivals and I'm not sure I've put enough time into it yet, although I do really love it. And Path of Exile 2 is in early access, so I'm not sure how I feel about recommending that game. But in the same breath, I think both of those games are good examples next to Helldivers because they're games that have a great multiplayer experience, but put fun and enjoyment and mechanical depth first so that you can, have this fun experience, enjoy the competitiveness of it, but it doesn't get bogged down in the balance of everything. It doesn't get balanced to where the sauce and the flavor is all gone. And I think that's what I really love about Helldivers 2.
Mouthwash! Mouthwash!
Coming in at number 6, we have Mouthwashing. Now, this is a game, if you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. It's an indie horror game, I almost said horror film, that came out this year, and it's about 2.5 hours long. You could probably go longer if you took your time and really explored everything, but it took me about 2.5 hours to beat it. Did a Let's Play for it on the channel. It's a fantastic game, and I highly, highly recommend it. The story is incredible. I'm not going to say anything about it because a lot of it relies on twists and turns that happen throughout the story, and even the first, 15 minutes can be a big spoiler. So all I will say is if you enjoy horror, if you enjoy unique and ambient storytelling, if you enjoy dark humor, if you enjoy sci-fi, all of those things, you should definitely check out Mouthwashing. It's provocative, it's powerful, it's disturbing, it's everything you would want an indie horror experience to be, and that's why it has made my top 10 list of the year. As a fan of those OG YouTube videos of people playing through horror games, this is the perfect type of game if you love that stuff.
Run!
I just want to get my Mary back.
Your Mary. Your own little Mary.
It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, ugly, pretty. It's all the same once you...
Speaking of horror, coming in at number 5 is Silent Hill 2 Remake. As someone who had never played a Silent Hill game and had never experienced the original of Silent Hill 2, being able to finally play such a legendary title in such a beautiful remake was a treat this year. I found myself utterly in love with it. Makes me want to go and check out other games inspired by Silent Hill or other games in the Silent Hill franchise in general. I wish they were all easier to access than they are, but at the same time, I'll do my best to try and find my old systems and find copies where I can. That being said, I absolutely love Silent Hill 2. It was powerful, emotional. It was one of the few times I beat a game and immediately wanted to go back and see the other endings. Went on YouTube, watched them, decided if I wanted to go back for a run and did to get some of the other stuff that I could. Was super interested in learning more about the world it presented. Aesthetically, despite its graphic and disturbing nature, it was a powerfully moving tale that had these visuals that were just immaculate, frankly. I mean, that's maybe not a good word because they're grimy, but for what they wanted to be, the world it wanted to build, there's nothing better. If you're looking for a horror game and experience, nothing matches Silent Hill 2 Remake this year, and I highly, highly recommend it.
Cards. Balatro has multiplier cards, lucky cards, glass cards, bonus cards, steel cards, and stone cards. Keep an eye out for cards with a golden seal. Collect stronger editions for each Joker like foil, holographic, polychrome, and the elusive negative power.
Coming in at number 4, we have the indie hit sensation Balatro. I'm obsessed. I hate to say it. I'm addicted just like everybody else is on Twitter and on, Blue Sky or whatever thread app where they're talking about, why did this game do so well? And then they play it for 5 minutes and they're like, oh, I get it. I really get it. Balatro is one of those games that you find yourself enthralled by. It's a simple concept of treating poker like solitaire and allowing you to use Joker cards, planet cards, tarot cards, and lots of different combinations to sort of cheat and push your way to a victory. It's a roguelike experience that's really easy to understand and really easy to get addicted to and just jump into this loop that goes forever and ever and ever. And that's what's beautiful about it. A simple soundtrack of one song that just changes based on your menu and all these little things here and there. It's sort of this fun experience of, deck building, randomizing an idea, seeing what you can do with the hand you're dealt, literally, is beautiful. It's fun, it's simple, and yet it's so complex, and there's so many levels to it. And you can go from, barely making it through $100 hands to scoring billions in one turn. It's kind of crazy, the depth that this game has, and it absolutely deserves all the flowers it's been given this year.
What happened to this place?
It was Sephiroth.
It can't be.
He wants to finish what he started and rule over the planet.
You coming?
Way ahead of ya!
Coming in at my number 3 spot might be a little bit of a surprise to some people, as I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, but my number 3 spot is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, I've played most of the mainline Final Fantasy games and played a lot of FF14 online back in the day, and I've even considered getting back into it with Dawn Trail, which if I do, stay tuned to the channel, might stream it. But as much as I love Final Fantasy VII, and it's my favorite entry in the Final Fantasy series, Rebirth is a fantastic game, but it just isn't my game of the year. I love what it tries to do. I love the beauty and the changes that it makes. I love how gorgeous these characters look now, and I'm just stunned how they're able to recreate this world, but it just leaves me wanting more, which is why I can't place it any higher. I feel like when all 3 parts are out, I'll be able to sing this game's praises from the heavens, because it will be this sort of Empire Strikes Back middle point that really, pushes new players and people who are re-experiencing this for the first time into that final entry, into that finish. And I feel like Rebirth is a beautiful experience that just isn't there yet because it doesn't have its final piece. Similarly to how Dune Part 1 is so much more lovable after Dune Part 2, you find yourself held back in a way, if that makes sense. And so, as much as I adore Rebirth, and I love everything about it. Brianna White is fantastic as Aerith, and, Cloud's new arc is so great, and I like the changes they've made and making Tifa more prominent. And, recreations of these iconic moments like Nibelheim Village and all of this stuff. It's astounding. It's incredible, and that's why it gets the top 3 spot. And I look forward to being able to just really hold to the heavens how beautiful this is when this trilogy is complete, because I just adore it so, so much.
I suppose this is the very essence of magic.
Coming in at my number 2 spot, which might be also sort of a surprise considering how much I love the Persona series, is Metaphor ReFantazio. It was really tough. I really thought Persona 3 Reload would make this list, but Metaphor kind of swooped in and stole my heart this year. I love Metaphor so, so much. It feels like an idealized Persona experience, and I can't wait to see what Atlus does with its other games because of the influences and strives they made on Metaphor. It takes that sort of, turn-based social experience and hones it in a little bit, gives you a little less freedom as a player, but in order to give you a more well-thought-out story, and I really appreciate that, actually. I don't mind the idea of the player sort of inhabiting a character and basically being an actor, choosing options, versus, having this complete self-insert freedom that Persona goes for. Plus, put that on this sort of, steampunk fantasy setting. I mean, what's not to love? Incredible story, incredible characters, and finishing up this game right before making this video, I'm just blown away. I'm so in love with every second of it. There's something about it that's just so powerful. And I feel like it's one of those games that, while it did get a lot of flowers this year, it will be looked back upon for its great worldview, interesting ideas, and being willing to touch on such heavy subjects in such a beautiful and powerful way. I absolutely loved it, and even though it didn't make my top spot, I found myself highly excited to want to jump immediately back in and go for those achievements I've missed. So yeah, big thumbs up. Utterly loved Metaphor ReFantazio. I sang Astrobot's praises pretty high earlier in the year on the channel. I loved it. I loved every second of it. And a lot of that might be because I grew up with a PlayStation 2, and it kind of worships that era of PlayStation. But I think a lot of outside contexts are why I love Astrobot as well. And some people will say this maybe is unfair, but I don't think so, and let me share my opinions. This will be a longer segment. Astrobot represents this idea that games should be art, in my opinion. You may say, oh, well, it's this collaborative game that's basically just a big Sony reference. And that's true. And I actually think that's why it's art. It is an artistic representation of a love for the beautiful things a company has made in the past. It worships Sony in a way that isn't an advertisement, but is a worship of the beautiful things that they have created over their years of existence. The beautiful art pieces. It is an art testament to art itself, to the art of video games, and to the style and love that all of those have. The unique worlds like God of War and the Ape Escape stuff and all these things, Uncharted, you know, giving flowers to these eras of PlayStation. I'm sorry, I'm getting like a little emotional about it. I find myself encapsulated by it. It's so charming, it's so beautiful, it's so fun, it's so well crafted and honed. It's one of those games that you just can't put down till you finish it. And then when you finish it, you want to go back again to get all those little trophies and secret levels and all these things. Astrobot is a beautiful experience. It's a testament to an era long gone and how we should go back to those days and how we should fall in love with all these beautiful games that once were. It is a studio that has gotten screwed over by Sony overall and PlayStation and shoved to the side for things like Concord, creating sort of a testament to what could have been their last game, to what could have been this final standing moment to say, hey, you know, if this is the last thing we get to do, we really love this and we want to show everybody how much we love it. And they did a fantastic job. Team Asobi, I give you all my flowers. I loved Astrobot. And I'm not even that big of a platformer guy. There weren't any other platformers or games like that on my list this year. And yet Astrobot stands tall at the top. It's beautiful, it's emotional, it's fun. I loved every second of it. But what did you love this year? Let me know in the comments below. I love being able to have conversations with you guys. If you hate my list, tell me. If you loved my list, tell me. Being a small channel and before, you know, maybe one day I'm able to grow to one of the bigger channels on the platform or something, I want to be able to enjoy the fun part of a small channel, which is communicating with my community. So please leave comments, like, share. All those things help me out a lot. Thank you all so much for tuning in for List Week, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace and love, everybody. Bye-bye. Wow.